Not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, said the Lord of hosts. Not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, said the Lord of hosts. I'm Elijah, and this is a program that you're saying the program, but this is the message that the Lord God has given unto me for me to give unto you. The reason why I say program so much because I used to be on the place where that's what they did. They ran program. Okay, I'm Elijah, and of course you know where I'm found at. I'm found in Malachi chapter 4, verse 6. Not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, said the Lord, who's that found in Zechariah chapter 4, verse 6. But I digress. The reason why I'm coming back on I hope it's a short video, is because the video before this I had zombies, zombies, and they cut me off. I don't know how to cut off because I'm not in a position to easy. I'm on a webcam, so I have to press buttons in order for this video to be cut off. But it wasn't like that. Oh no, it wasn't like that. That video, some kind of way the video got cut off. Now maybe I done it, but all I can do is tell you that it was cut off. And so that had to make me come because when I listened to the video, it only had about 20 minutes into the video after I said the dreams. And then after I said the dreams, then it cut off. All I was nothing. I'm just going to read a few scriptures to you. Then I was going to go into the book of Enoch. Well, you're on the timeline. It showed you, like I said, when you go to the book of Enoch and you want to know where you're at on the timeline, just look at what's happening in the world. Like right now, you got the false prophets in that time of tribulation. So when you go to the book of Enoch, you go from page, I think it started at chapter 83 to chapter 90. But I think it goes a little farther than that. But I know it's in the 90th chapter that you find out, because we're in that timeline. We almost at the very, very end. Yeah? We're about to go into the Great Tribulation. That's what we're about to do. All right, so anyway, so I was just a few little scriptures I was going to. Let me see, because let's see if I did it again. Nope, I told you I didn't do it. I know I didn't do it. It just, well, let's read. We're gonna start since they cut me off and go backwards. Then we'll go back to the fall. We're gonna start in Lamentations, 2nd chapter. I already read the 1st chapter. It's another video. How the Lord covered the daughter of Zion with a cloud in his anger, and cast down from the heaven unto the earth the beauty of Israel. And remember not his footstool in the day of his anger, because that's what you're in right now, you're in the Lord's anger. The Lord has swallowed up all the habitation of Jacob, and have not pitied. He hath thrown down in the wrath the strongholds of the daughter of Judah. He has thrown down in his wrath the strongholds of the daughter of Judah. And he had brought them down to the ground. He had polluted the kingdom and the prince thereof. He had cut off in his fierce anger all the horn of Israel. He had drawn back his right hand before the enemy, and had burned against Judah like a flaming forgive me. And he had burned against Jacob like a flaming fire, and devoured round about. He had bent his bow like an enemy. He stood in the midst and had an adversary, and slew all that was pleasant to his eye in the tabernacle of the daughter of Zion. He poured out his fury like fire. The Lord was an enemy. He had swallowed up Israel. He had swallowed up all her palaces. He had destroyed his strongholds. He has increased in the daughter of Judah mourning and lamentation. So, you know, man, yeah, he have done that. And he had violently taken away his tabernacle, as it was of a garden. He had destroyed his palace. He had destroyed his place of the assembly. The Lord had caused the solemn feasts and the Sabbaths to be forgotten in Zion. He had despised, he had dispersed and he had dispersed in the indignation of his anger the king and the priest. The Lord had cast off his altar. He had abhorred his sanctuary. He had given up into the hand of the enemy the walls of his palaces, the walls of hard palaces. They had made a noise in the house of the Lord, as in the day of solemn feast. That's Lamentation chapter 2. Of course, you can read it better than me. Go ahead, go read it. The Lord had proposed to destroy the wall of the daughter of Zion. He has stretched out a line. He has not withdrawn his hand from destroying. Therefore, he had made a rampart and a wall to lament the language together. And man, let me tell you, let me stop right there. Let me stop right there. So when I went over that piece of dirt they call Israel, yeah, they got a wall called a Wailing Wall. And they was up there. And then when you go from the Wailing Wall, you have to go up to this ramp to get you have to go up this on as the Israeli side, as they say. So they have the Wailing Wall, then you have to go up this ramp. So when you go up this ramp, they check you and check your bags and everything. Then you get inside to look at that at the Temple Mount. And you go there, you get in the Temple Mount. So that was the Lord God talked about right there. Yeah, I tell you, go over there, you see. Or ask somebody who's been over there, they'll tell you the same thing. The Lord, but you go, if you come in from the other side, you don't go through all that. The Lord had proposed to destroy the wall of the daughter of Zion. See, he's going to destroy that wall. The Lord had proposed to destroy the water of the daughter of Zion. He has stretched out a line. He had not withdrawn his hand from destroying. So that's coming. Therefore, he made a ramp and a wall to lament. So you know where the wall at, and I told you about the ramp. And they languished together, and that's there in the same spot. Her gates are sunk into the ground. He had destroyed and had broken her balls. Her kings and her prince among the Gentiles. The law is no more. Her prophets also find no vision from the Lord. So, man, people have no God in them. The elders of the daughter of Zion sit upon the ground and keep silent. They have cast up dust upon their heads. They have girded themselves with sackcloth. The virgin of Jerusalem hang down their heads to the ground. My eyes do fill with tears. My eyes do fill with tears. Tears. Tony got that now, with tears. My bowels are troubled. My liver is poured upon the earth for the destruction of the daughter of my people, because the children and the suckling swoon in the streets of the city. They said to their mother, where is corn and wine? When they swoon as wounded in the streets of the city, when their souls were poured out into their mother's bosom. What thing shall I take to witness for thee? What shall I liken to thee, O daughter of Jerusalem? What shall I equal to thee, that I may comfort thee, O virgin daughter of Zion? For the breach is great like the sea. Who can heal thee? And it is, because you're on one side, they're on the other side. The prophet has seen vain and foolish things for thee. They have not discovered thy iniquity to turn away thy captivity, but have seen for thee false burden, the cause of banishment. Yeah, you serving those idols and everything. And these pastors, preachers, teachers, I listen to them all the time. And they're not telling you how to get out of captivity or turn away the law, or turn away the captivity that you're in. But all they show you the false version that houses, land, silver, gold, all that stuff can't help you, man. Okay, well, you think it can? Well, you just keep on. At their pass by, clap their hands. All that pass by, clap their hands at thee. They hiss and wag their head at the daughter of Jerusalem, saying, is this the city the men that call the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth? Thy enemies have opened their mouth against thee. They hiss and gnash their teeth. They say, we have swallowed her up. Certain this is the day that we look for. We have found, we have seen it. The Lord had done that which he had devised. He has fulfilled his word that he hath commanded in the days of old. He hath thrown down, he hath not pitied. And he hath caused thy enemies to rejoice over thee. He hath set up the horn of thy adversary. And these things happen to Israel, God's chosen people all over the world where we scattered at. Their hearts cry unto the Lord, our wall of the daughter of Zion. Let tears run down like a river day and night, and give thyself no rest. Let not thy apple of thy eyes cease. Arise, cry out in the night. In the beginning of the watches pour out their heart like water before the face of the Lord. Lift up thy hands towards him for the life of thy young children that faint for hunger in the top of every street. So we know that's coming up next. Man, I told you, man, I seen the store's house empty. I done saw the dirt. Well, you ain't got to believe me. Just wait till it come. Everything else I see has come to pass or has come to pass. So wait for this. It'll come to pass too. Behold the Lord and consider to whom thou hast done it. Shall the women eat their fruit and the children of a span long? Shall the priest and the prophet be slain in the sanctuary of the Lord? That's coming up also. All that's coming up. The young and the old lie on the ground in the street. My virgin and my young men are fallen by the sword. That's coming too. That's the great war. Thou hast slain them in the day of thy anger. Thou hast killed and not pitied. Thou hast called as in the solemn day my terrors round about, so that in the day of the Lord's anger none escape nor remain. Those that I have swallowed and brought up have my enemy consumed. And that's another thing. I told you, man, that Babylon, because that's what over there right now, that place you call Jerusalem, and that piece of dirt that you call Israel, that's nothing but another Babylon. That's all it is. These are the daughter of Babylon. But we know that a false Messiah is coming over there. We know that. He probably over there now. He just haven't raised his head yet. But we know that because I read it in the book of Enoch. And I told you that he's going to use all these powers. He used them too. He used all this raw earth. He took all this raw earth and made all these different technology. And we know that this is demon technology. Whether you won't believe me or not, you can't change the fact that it's demon technology. Now, you can call it by internet science, technology, or whatever. It's still demon technology. That's still that. But anyway, so we know that Lord God going to destroy that place. That place over there they call dead land. That's our land. And they're in our land. And they don't supposed to be in our land. Nope, nope, nope. So Lord God coming back and destroy all that. Just keep watching. Yeah, the beast himself gone. Yeah. He's going to be himself over there. All right. Keep watching. Keep watching. The false Messiah, the Antichrist, and all those people, they're already here. They're just going to start showing themselves. Just give it time. All right, let's go. I wasn't planning on keeping it. I don't plan on, but you know, the Lord's at work. So let's go to Psalms. We went to Psalms 125. Psalm 125 and Psalms 126. 125 and 126. Let's go. Psalms 125 and 126. Let's get it. Oh yeah. Psalms 125. They that trust in the Lord should be as Mount Zion, which cannot be removed but abide forever. As the mountains are round about Jerusalem, so the Lord is round about his people from henceforth even forever. For the rod of the wicked should not rest upon the lot of the righteous. See it? For the rod of the wicked should not rest upon the lot of the righteous, lest the righteous put forth their hands unto iniquity. And that's what we're doing now. We're drawing back our hand from all this foolishness. Do good, O Lord, unto those that be good, and to them that are upright in their hearts. For such as turn aside unto their crooked ways, the Lord shall lead them forth with the workers of iniquity, but peace shall be upon Israel. So that's 26. When the Lord, verse 1, Psalm 1, chapter 126. When the Lord turned again the captivity of Zion, we were like them that dream. Then our mouth filled with laughter and our tongues with singing. Then said they among the heathen, the Lord hath done great things for them. The Lord hath done great things for us, whereof we are glad. Turn again our captivity, O Lord, as the stream in the south. They that sow in tears shall reap in joy. And he that goeth forth and weeping, bearing precious seed, shall doubtless come again with rejoicing, bringing his sheaves with him. So all those things going to come about. You just have to be patient and waiting for it to come. So I was going to go to the book of Enoch. And because these people are under a strong delusion, man, that the Lord God is not going to take all these apostate and all these prophets and pastors and all of that and gather them together and bound them and throw them in the lake of fire in the abyss. You're deceiving yourself. You think the Lord God is not going to do that. All right, go ahead. You keep on writing those books and things. Buy my books, buy my CDs, buy my praying heads, buy my burning candles and all those things. and then put a tag on it like the Lord, or begging for money, Pat Robertson, and think that these things are not going to come up on you. But you just keep on watching. God is not in a rush to bring forth it. God is not in a rush to destroy you, because you man, you're going to die anyway. And you man, you're going to stand before that judgment anyway. So just keep watching. Well, you just keep watching because y'all deceiving God's people. We going to, and I really wanted to read all of Enoch to you, but I know that it's for you to read. It's for me to give it to you. And no matter how much I try to go along and go from verse to verse and everything, Lord God won't permit me to do it. He won't. I mean, I'm trying. Yeah, I'm trying. And he's no. See, it's for you. You gotta seek out and search the Lord for yourself. You do. You have to go through. A lot of people want shortcut, but there's no shortcut. And you can't buy no book or no CD. Just like me, I didn't buy all that foolishness. What I did, I humbled myself. I humbled myself before the throne of grace, just like the Lord God said. And then I did like King David said. I confessed all my sins from the time I was born, even unto this day. And I confessed them to the Lord God. Then I started keeping all his commandments. I did. I started keeping all his commandments. I had already been baptized in Jesus' name. And I already see the Holy Ghost and the spirits, and I have received all the gifts and the talents and everything. But I had to work to get all the talents and all the gifts as I start humbling myself and keeping all his commandments and getting back in the bonds of forever covenant. They'll look at one of them. If you don't know what that is, go to Jubilees chapter 2 and find out about the covenants and the forever covenants. Find out about those things. And then as I start doing those things, the Lord God started adding unto me and started revealing different things to me and started stripping me. And so it was no shortcut. I had to go back and humble myself and got rid of all the materials. All that learning, all those things that I had learned from college and all those other things was different. Other pastors, preachers, teachers was teaching me. Mother, got rid of all that because my mom was a Sunday school teacher and all that. She had no books and all that. Got rid of all that, and I just humbled myself and start truly depending upon the Lord God. And then when I started doing that, everything started going well. All those curses started being lifted up for me. The more I humbled myself, the more I kept his Sabbath, the more I kept his covenant. And then the curses started lifting up for me, and then he started putting the blessings on me. And I'm still waiting for some blessings, but I know they are coming. But all that falling down, getting back up, and have trouble with these different things. These people want you to have trouble with these different things. So you can keep coming back to the church house every Sunday, paying your money and buying these different things. And the next thing you know, if that you don't fall with that, you got 7 demons in you. So one of them going to get you and you're going to fall again. But I just can tell you. All I can do is to give it to you as he has given it to me. All right. Okay, so when you go to, let's see, I'm going to tell you what chapter. Noah, chapter 8 and 9. When you go to chapter 8 and 9, it goes into our father Moses. Our father Moses and things that he done at the Red Sea and things of that. Now, it was in the book of Enoch. Then after that, all right, I'm going to chapter 90, verse 56. Chapter 90, verse 56. Oh man, before I go to chapter 9, I'm going to, I left something out yesterday. It's a recap. So let's go to, because I left out that these people need blood, and they want blood. So let's go to chapter 69, verse 12. Chapter 69, verse 12. And the way how the book is written is hard. It's hard because you know how the book is. So when you go to chapter 69, then you start reading. This is how he has the book. This is the book I'm reading. It's not on there. But then you go to chapter 12. And then when you go to chapter 12, you got to go. Chapter 69, you got to go to verse 12. You have to go to verse 12. And let's just say, and the fifth was named Khadijah. I read this to you before. So he's the one told you the smiting blows, the spirit of demons, and the smiting of the immorals in the womb, and the pathway, and the smiting of the souls, and the vice of the serpent smite, the smiting which befall through the midday heat and the sun serpent. So he's the one tells about how the use the uses of DNA and the uses of the blood. That's what telling them that. Yeah, that's where they're coming at. Okay, well, so so I'm gonna go farther down. I think I said I don't know if it's still in there. I mean, I know it's in there, but anyway, so he tells. So that's the one who tells you about about the blood that they need and what they're doing with the blood. Yeah, yeah, oh yeah. So that's what's going on now, man. That dream that I had, and I told you, dream I told you, and they doing it, man. I'm telling you, because a lot of times I don't try to read or interpret the dream because I know it's gonna come to pass. And so as this dream with the blood, this thing that come to pass now, man, when you sit down at that desk, I told you I was sitting at that desk, that woman had that machine. It looked like a futuristic typewriter. That would look like, but it was something that when you give her your blood, she put it in this machine and type up that DNA and matches you up. Like the whole DNA chain and matches you up with that demon or that fallen angel that matches up with you, and that's what's going on. Oh yeah, okay, well, man, all I can do is give it to you as he as the Lord God has given it to me and given me that insight. Yeah, well, it's one of my I don't remember what dream what video I put it in, the dream, and if I run across it again, I'll tell you about it, but I'm not gonna look for it right now. Mm-mm. Uh, so we're going to Enoch chapter 90, and we're gonna start at I guess we can start at verse 52. After that I saw that when they forsook the house of the Lord, his tower, they fell away entirely, and their eyes was blind. They saw the Lord of the sheep, how he worked much slaughter among them in their herds, until those sheep invited that slaughter and betrayed his place. He gave them over into the hands of the lions, tiger, wolves, and hyenas, and to the hand of the foxes, and to all the wild beasts. And those wild beasts began to tear those sheep. And I saw that he forsook their house and their tower, and gave them into the hand of the lions to devour them in the hand of all the wild beasts. And they began to cry aloud with all my power and appeal to the Lord of sheep, because the sheep was being devoured by all the wild beasts. But he remained unmoved. And though he saw it, he rejoiced that they were being devoured, swallowed, and robbed, and left them to be devoured in the hand of all the beasts. So that's what's going on, really. Well, I can't say that's going on, but that happened. That's happened. And he called 70 shepherds and gave those sheep to them that they might pasture them. And he spoke to the shepherds and their companions. Let each individual of you pasture the sheep from now on, and everything that I shall command you that you do. This is Enoch chapter 9. This banned from the Bible, but this is Enoch. And I will deliver them over to you duly numbered, until you tell you which of them that are to be destroyed, and them you will destroy, and give over to them those sheep. And he called another and spoke to him, observe and mark everything that the shepherds will do to those sheep, for they will destroy more than I have commanded them. And in every excess and the destruction will be done through the shepherds. Record how many they destroy according to my command, and how many according to their own caprice. Record everything, individual shepherds, all the destruction he affects. So that's the shepherds. Now remember, this is the shepherds destroying the sheep. Okay. So that's Enoch chapter 9, verse 60. And read out before him the number how many they destroyed and how many they deliver over for destruction, that I may have this a testimony against them and know every deed of the shepherds, that I may comprehend and see what they do, whether whether or not they abide by my command which I command them. You know, them shepherds and the Lord God. So when you go to the book of Jeremiah, Ezekiel, and all those other books of the minor prophets, they tell you that what the shepherds have done. Okay. But they shall not know it, and you shall not declare it to them, nor admonish them, but only record against each individual all destruction with the shepherd affect each in his time, and lay it all before me. I saw until those shepherds pastured in their season, and they began to slay and destroy more than what they were bidden, and they delivered those sheep into the hand of the lions. See? All right. And the lions, tigers ate and devoured greater part of those sheep, and the wild bulls ate along with them, and they burned that tower and demolished that house. So that's, the tower and talking about the house in Jerusalem. All right. And I became very sorrowful over the tower, because the house of the sheep was demolished, and afterward unable to see those sheep enter that house. And the shepherds and their associates delivered over those sheep to all the wild beasts to devour them. And each of them received in his time a definite number, and was written by the orders in the book how many each one of them destroyed. So now that's the house of the Lord that was destroyed. Yeah. Oh yeah. And each slew and destroyed many more than he prescribed. And I began to weep and lament on those sheep. And thus in the vision I saw that one who wrote how he wrote down every one that was destroyed by those shepherds day by day, and cried up and laid down and showed actually the whole book to the Lord of the sheep, everything that they had done, and all that each one of them had made away with, and all they had been given over to destruction. And the book was read before the Lord of the sheep, and he took the book from his hand and read it and sealed it and laid it down. Yeah, he took it and he sealed it. And I saw how the shepherd passed around for 12 hours. Behold, 3 of those sheep turned back and came into and began to build up all that was fallen down of their house. But the wild boars tried to hinder them, but they was not able. I think that Nehemiah, somebody, went back to build a house of the Lord. And they began again to build before they raised up the tower. It was named the High Tower, and they began again to place a table before the tower, but all the bread on it was polluted and not pure. Yeah, that's the second one. And touching all these, the eyes of those sheep were blind, so that they saw not. And the eyes of their shepherd likewise were blind. And they delivered them in a large number to their shepherds for destruction. And they trampled the sheep with their feet and devoured them. And the Lord of the sheep remained unmoved until the sheep was dispersed over the field and mingled with the beasts. And the shepherd did not save them out of the hands of the beasts. Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm telling you, our father Enoch wrote down everything he saw in the dream. And he saw Israel, not the Jews and all them. Well, he saw all them also, but he saw Israel and everything they did from the beginning of time until the end of time. So when you read this, when you start reading Enoch and beginning of 9, they're gonna bring it all the way to the end of days. Those who know the word by now. Those who should have, if you have read this Apocrypha, this book here, the Apocrypha, first and second book of Esdras, you should know what's going on. You should. Yeah, you should know. And the Lord of the sheep remained unmoved till all the sheep were dispersed over the field, over the field and mingled with the beasts, and the shepherd did not save them out of the hand of the beasts. And this one who wrote the book carried it up and showed it and read it before the Lord of sheep, and implored him on their account, and besought him on their account, and showed him all the doings of the shepherd, and gave testimony against the sheep. And he took after the book and laid it down beside him and departed. And I saw until the manner 35 shepherds took pasturing of sheep, and they completed their period as did the first, and others received them into their hands to pasture them for their period, each shepherd in his own period. And after that I saw in my vision all the birds of heaven coming, the eagles, the vultures, the kites, the ravens. But the eagle laid all the birds. The eagle laid all the birds and began to devour those sheep and pick out their eyes and to devour the flesh. And the sheep cried out before the flesh, being devoured by the birds. And as for me, I looked and lamented in my sleep over the shepherd who pastured the sheep. And I saw until those sheep was devoured by the dogs, the eagle, the kites, and left neither flesh nor skin nor suit nor remaining on them, until only their bones stood there, and their bones too fell on earth, and the sheep became few. And I saw until 23 undertaking passion completed their many periods 58 times. And behold, the lamb that was born of those white sheep began to open their eyes and see, and they cried to the sheep, and cried to them, and they did not hearken to what they said to them, but were very deaf, and their eyes were very blind. And I saw in a vision how the ravens flew on those lambs, and took one of those lambs, and dashed the sheep in pieces, and devoured him. And I saw until the horn grew on those lambs, and the raven cast down their horns, and I saw until there sprouted a great horn of one of those sheep, and their eyes were open. And I looked at them, and their eyes opened, and cried to the sheep, and the ram saw it, and all ran to it. And notwithstanding all this, the eagles, the vultures, the ravens, and the kites kept on tearing the sheep, and swooping down on them, devoured them till the sheep remained silent. But the rams lamented and cried out. And those ravens fought in battle with it, and sought to lay low its horn, but they had no power over it. And the eagles, the vultures, the ravens, the kites were gathered together, and there came with them all the sheep of the field, and they all came together and helped each other to break that horn of the ram. So you got to come together, man. You got to come together. And I saw a man who wrote down deeds of the shepherd and brought them up before the Lord. The sheep came and helped that ram and showed them everything was coming down. And I looked until the Lord of sheep came to them angry, and all those who saw him ran. They all fell in the shadow in front of him. And the eagles, the vultures, the ram, the kite gathered together and brought with them all the wild sheep, and all came together and helped one another in order to dash the horn of the ram in pieces. And we are scattered, man. That's why he said when you go to the book of Isaiah, and it tells you about bought full grapes, wild grapes. And I look at the man who wrote the book and commanded the Lord to open the book of the destruction of those last 12 shepherds had done. And he showed in front of the Lord the sheep that he had destroyed even more than those before them had. Because that's about, man, they destroyed. When we are living in sin like we are living now, the destruction comes. And I looked, and the Lord of sheep came to them and took a staff of his anger and struck the earth, and the earth was split. And all the animals, the birds of the sky fell from those sheep and sunk into the earth, and it closed over. That's coming too. And I saw until a great sword was given to the sheep, and sheep proceeded against the beasts of the field to slay them, and all the beasts and birds of heaven fled before their face. And I saw that man who wrote the book according to the commands of the Lord, until he opened the book concerning destruction which the 12 last shepherds had wrought, and showed that they destroyed much more than their predecessors. But the Lord of the sheep, and I saw until the Lord of the sheep came to them, and took his hand, the staff of his wrath, and smote the earth. And the earth clave asunder, and all the beasts and the birds of heaven fell from among those sheep, and were swallowed up in the earth, and it covered them. And I saw until the throne was erected in a pleasant land, and the Lord of sheep set himself on it. And the other took the seal of the book and opened those books before the Lord of the sheep. See? And it took the sealed books and opened. So where's the else there? Because that's, when you're reading that, you have to go to the Holy Bible. You have to go to the Holy Bible. And when you go to the Holy Bible in the book of Revelation, you see that the seventh seal was opened. Then you go back up here to Enoch 20, then you see the seals being opened. And the Lord calls those men the seven first white ones, and commanded that they should bring before him, bring him the first star which led the way, and all the stars whose private members was like those of horses, and they brought them all before him. Fallen angels. See, we see them stars, they are fallen angels that he took him. Look what he said. And he said to the man who rode before him, bring one of those seven white ones, and said to him, take those 70 shepherds to whom I delivered the sheep, and who was taking them on their own authority, and slew more than I commanded them. And behold, they were all bound, and so all of them stood before him. And the judgment was held first over the stars, and he judged and found guilty. Then he went to a place of condemnation. They all was cast into the abyss, full of fire and flame, and full of the pillars of fire. And those 70 shepherds who judged and found guilt, and they was cast into the fury abyss also. See, because these pastors, preachers, teachers, and all that, think you're going to go on and continue teaching God these lies, God shape these lies, and nothing going to happen to you. Well, now you see what's going to happen to you. Oh, yeah, you see. And I saw at that time how like the abyss was open in the midst of the earth, full of fire, and brought those binded sheep, and they all were all judged and found guilty and cast in the fiery abyss, and they burned. Now this abyss was to the right of that house, and I saw those burning and those bones burning. I saw that too. Oh yeah, I saw the abyss. And I saw the abyss, and I saw the house. I didn't know what it was at the time, but as I go on in the Lord God, as I keep in the bind forever covenant, the Lord God revealed all these things unto me. Yeah, this whole book, I done seen them. I done seen them, and so that's why I'm able to tell you. And I say, man, I done seen that. Yeah, yeah. And a vision, dreams, night vision, I done seen it, man. I didn't see it. Well, let me see where I'm at on this. Got 8 minutes left. So let me finish reading. And I saw those sheep burning and their bones burning. And I stood up to see until they folded up that old house and carried off the pillars. And the beams and the ornaments of the house was at the same time folded up with it. And they carried it off and laid it in a place in the south of the land. And I saw until the Lord and sheep brought a new house, greater and loftier than the first, and set it up in the place of the first, which had been folded up. And its pillars were new, and its ornaments was new, and larger than those of the first, the old one which had taken away, and all the sheep that was in it. And so that new temple that they're going to build, Lord God going to do with that. I tell you, all that going to be destroyed. Where is written that? In the book of Enoch. So just go read it, man. And I saw all the sheep which had been left, and all the beasts on the earth, and all the birds of heaven, falling down homage to those sheep, and making petition and obeying them and everything. And after the Lord God told you, go read it. He told you that when Israel repent with the old heart, and they're going to come and take a hold of Israel coattail and say, truly the Lord has been with you. And they're going to follow us. Yeah, they're going to follow us into where? Follow us into the kingdom. And after those 3 things, because people understand some Lord God, yeah, you're going to have people down there going to be caught up in the air. The elect going to be caught up in the air. Lord God tell you, everything, if you stop listening to these pastors, preachers, and teachers and all those people, and start seeking out the Lord God for yourself and knowing for yourself, then these people cannot deceive you. And then you'll stop giving these people your monies and things of that nature and learn to do with the monies. Okay. And after those 3 things, well, if you don't know, you don't understand, do as the Lord God said. Well, humble yourself, and he'll tell you, teach you what to do. And therefore, those 3 who was clothed in white and had seized me by the hand, who had taken up before, those 3. And the hand of that ram also seized hold of me. They took me up and set me down in the midst of those sheep before the judgment took place. And those sheep was all white, and their woods was abundant and clean. And all that had been destroyed and dispersed, all of the beasts of the field and all the birds of heaven assembled in their house. And the Lord of the sheep rejoiced with great joy because they all were good. They were all good and had returned to his house. And I saw until they laid down their sword, which had been given to the sheep, and that they brought it back into the house. And it was sealed before the presence of the Lord. And all the sheep was invited into that house, but it held them not. So, you know, there's some on the outside. They tell you, well, go read the book of Revelation. It tells you where they at. Who those people are that's clothed in white that was on the outside the house. And the eyes of them were open. They saw that good, and there was not among, and that not one among them that did not see. And I saw that the house was large and broad and very full. And I saw that white bull was born with large horns, and all the beasts of the field and all the birds of the air feared him and made petition to him at all times. And I saw until all the generations were transformed, and they all became white bull, and the first among them became a lamb, and the lamb became a great animal, and had great black horns on his head. And the Lord of sheep rejoiced over it and over all the oxen. And I slept in their midst, and I woke, saying, and saw everything. See, I slept in their midst, and I woke and saw everything. See, that's for the Enoch. He saw everything from the beginning of time to the end of time, to the end of this destruction. Anyway, yeah. And this vision which I saw while I slept, I woke and blessed the Lord of righteousness and gave him glory. Then I wept greatly, and my tears ceased not until I could no longer endure it. When I saw they flowed on account of what I had seen. For everything shall come and be fulfilled, and all the deeds of men and their order was shown to me. And on that night I remember the first dream. Because of it I wept. It was trouble because I had seen that vision. So the Lord, that's for the Enoch. And I'm sorry I skipped. But when you start on I started in chapter 85. I think that was chapter 85 I started. And then you read all the way to the end of that chapter 90. And then when you read that, that's the account of everything that was going to happen unto us. From the beginning of time to now, everything that was going to happen and generate in the world. I said, man, all I can do is give it to you as the law of God has given unto me. Then he called Methuselah and tell him what was going on. All right, so those are things. I'm not finishing the book of Enoch. No, because that's Enoch described, but you have other things that's going to happen also that he showed us. Yeah, and maybe if I find, really don't want to look for that dream no more, man, because I have so many other dreams they had told me, but that dream about what's happening now, and that how they want their blood, how they want your blood, and they have them devise this computer or machine that they can take your blood sample and quickly match you up with one of those demons or one of those fallen angels. They quickly can do it, man. I told you, man, I have that dream somewhere, but I guess I might find it one day. I told you about the dream of the abyss. I had seen the abyss. I seen stars falling from heaven. I saw warm wood. I seen yeah, man. And if you listen to one of my videos, Behold Elijah, it's on YouTube. And I tell you all the dreams. And the dreams that I didn't told you all the dreams. Not all of them, I don't think. There's some dreams I didn't say. But the majority of the dreams I have told you. I have told them to you. And the ones, especially the ones where things going to happen to the whole earth and things. I try my best to tell you all those. And, well, this is not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, say the Lord of hosts. I'm Elijah. Until next time.